Hello, ladies. Welcome back and happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's.
I'm so
Love is in the air.
We brought some balloons to share with all of you. We're so excited. Hoping everyone's having a great Valentine's week. How is it going with you?
It's going. Life is great. Moving along. We got a new puppy and we're
Yes,
in
it's so
love,
cute.
love with the puppy, just not in love with the crying and the extra poop and pee, but we love her. Marley. Her name's Marley.
She is so cute. I'll try to put a picture here. I don't know how to do the editing, but we'll try to throw a picture. We're going to celebrate Valentine's.
And we just wanted to keep the love flowing. And we thought, what better way than to bringing Valentine's to this podcast by matching it up with what we do day in and day out and land investing.
I love your sweater, by the way.
Thank you. It's very...
Yes, we love land investing. We're falling in love with land investing. That should be the title, right? Falling in love with land investing. Why is it a perfect business? We have touched this a little bit in the past. We'll sprinkle in some love and continue why we fell in love with it. Do you want to share why you fell in love with land investing, Cindy?
Well, yeah, like you said, we've touched on it in the past, and I think for me it was the flexibility, right? The ability to do what you had to do with your kids and still, make money while you're working, but prioritizing your kids. For me, that was why I fell in love. How about you?
That's the huge
Spot
one
on.
for me. For me, I fell in love, one, because I saw the return of investment, like the time and effort we put into it, and the money that we got back was, I guess I, as a nurse, hadn't seen that. So I fell in love with that first. That's the first part. But yes, like Cindy said, the time that you get back, because you could do it from anywhere. You could do it from your home, which we do, both of us. And we get to go drop off our kids, go pick up our kids. They forgot their lacrosse stick. You run over and take their lacrosse stick. And you can still answer the calls on your phone and send emails back and forth to surveyors, title companies.
Yes.
So it's a lovely love business of land investing.
It sure is. So next we have love at first sight. So how do you spot a great deal? Once you've sent out your letters to your potential sellers, how do you fall in love? Love at first sight.
Love at first sight. Well, for me, it's before I even send the letters. I mentioned that some ladies here were asking, like, where do you buy your land earlier? It's where I love to travel to, where I like to take my kids to. For us, it began like Disney, Orlando, Universal. So we target Florida, all the little rural areas outside. That's how I fell in love with land out there. And now it's more, like we said before, like where the people are looking for. But yeah, you're out traveling, going to see property, or just going on vacation with family, or going to a seminar in another town, and you're out there and you're like, wow, this is so pretty out here.
Yes.
And you fall in love with it and you send a mailer there.
Yes. Yeah. And the same thing goes for me. I feel like traveling, whether we're on the road. So I travel a lot for lacrosse, my daughter's lacrosse teams. And even if we fly to other states, when we're traveling and to these places, you rent a car and you're traveling and you're like, it is gorgeous out here. So I take note of the county, I take note of the area that we're in so that I can research it and send mail there in that particular area. So that's been a blessing. And that's how I fall in love with our land, the land that we see.
I love that.
Yes.
So yeah, knowing what you like, and then once you know what you like and being out there, I guess listening to your clients or what other people like to do, you kind of want to meet their goals as well.
Yeah. How about dating your due diligence and avoiding heartbreak and land investing? And boy, I've had heartbreaking.
Wait, this is so creative. Dating your due diligence.
Yes. Dating your due diligence.
It is a date. It has its pros and its cons.
And there are heartbreaks. God, there are heartbreaks. I can speak to one quickly. So I had a mailer that I made and that I mailed, and it was disastrous. I immediately started getting 1,000 calls of people wanting to sell in this particular area. And it was just one area of the county that I sent to. So it was just that particular area. But I swear, if I had the money, I could have purchased the whole subdivision because everyone wanted to sell. So I was heartbroken. I quickly realized that that just was not going to be the right place. So there's signs. There's signs that it's a bad relationship. It's a bad deal.
Yes, true.
But that's an example for me. How about for you?
The dating, the ups and the downs. Okay, I have plenty of downs. We should do a whole podcast on the downs, but the ups is for me, the dating, the due diligence is getting, when I call the counties, getting to know what the logistics are. It is like a dating game. You have to know how to speak to these people, the
Ask the right
surveyor,
questions.
ask the right questions, learn the tones of different engineers and attorneys that you deal with. So it is a lot like dating and
Yeah.
figuring out what areas you can subdivide, what areas you can't subdivide.
Or how many acres do you need to put in a water well or a septic tank? Like these are all
Due diligence that you must
you must
do.
do prior to purchasing so that you know what you're selling to your potential buyers for sure.
And the other thing I would say also for, we get a lot of requests for ag exempt. I went
Oh,
blank. My mind
it's
went
okay.
blank.
And you got me. I'm like, I don't know. I can't read your mind yet.
Ag exemptions in Texas, there's different ags that you could do, and I'm learning as we go. So certain animals or certain things that you want to harvest or farm on your land, you could get as minimum as 3 acres, and then some you need 10 acres. So it just depends. So
Where, yeah,
you have
what
to
county you're
kind
in,
of
what.
do a little dance to figure out what areas you could do the ag exempt, what other areas. So it is the date of due diligence. I like your little terms.
I like it
So
too.
Valentine.
So, what about your love letters to the sellers? Crafting the perfect offer. What is your love letters?
I
I
like.
learned it.
I love your headlines, Cindy.
So
She did great.
I learned well, no, not quickly, but I learned after a couple of mailers that I had to soften my letters up, and I had to put things like um if you don't want to sell, my apologies for wasting your time. I can't quote you exactly what my letter says, but something along those lines, but if you are interested in selling, please continue to read. And then I went into the nitty gritty. But I think that communication, even on letters, is key in being able to softens the calls. Sometimes it doesn't, but it helped for me. How about you?
Yeah. So I remember when I was going raving about Chat GPT and when it first came out, before it was very structured, like business like. And I'm like you, when I first read it, I'm like, this is too. And then when Chat GPT came along, I'm like, I'm gonna use it. But then going back to setting the intention, like I you're gonna think I'm weird. A lot of you may not, but I do kind of say like a little prayer or a little like I
Yes.
want to help someone that doesn't need the land, that's tired of paying taxes, or that can help other people that are looking in this area. I send like a minimal intention, and believe it or not, guys, it
It
works.
works
It
for
works. So
sure.
I say like my little prayer right before I even send out the letter, and then I ask ChatGPT, like, can you send it to someone that really wants to give it to someone that needs this property? So ours is, my husband Ivan at first was like, really, this is too girly, and I'm like, well, it comes from a girl because it has my name.
Yeah.
So he kind of tweaked it, his engineer mind, but it should be like a love letter. It should
And
have.
it should come out of love. Like I think our intentions in doing this, yes, we want to make money. Obviously, it's a business, right? But it's never to offend or get past some or take advantage of anyone. Like that's the last thing I would do. I want to help someone that's in trouble. If someone really needs the money and they need the cash right now, them trying to sell it, they probably won't get a cash offer, and I'm offering them the cash. So
Mhm.
my intentions, your intentions, I should say, to you guys watching, should always be from a good heart. Like you're coming
Yes,
from a good place, never taking advantage. Because I do believe in karma, and I do believe that what you give out will come back. So
absolutely.
you do want to set the right intention. So I do love those love letters that you send. Like that is
Yeah,
so right.
it
You're right
is.
on
It's
point.
very it's very deep and it's very, and you know what I noticed from the first letters that were like business structure to the ones that we're sending now, the people are not as
As
upset.
angry. I
You
agree.
notice
Oh,
that
I
too?
know. When I changed the tone of my letters, I noticed 100%.
So if you want us to share our letters, leave a little comment below and we'll provide a little link to have samples because I have different letters.
I
But
do too.
yes,
But yes, I think when you pick your county and you're about to send a letter, I don't send the same letter every single time. I've always tweaked it depending on how I feel. Like I'm very like touched in tune with my emotions. So I might switch a paragraph, I might switch a sentence, I might whatever, but I have switched it. Like I don't
I
think I've
love
ever
that.
sent the same letter like twice.
Well, what's funny,
Except right at the beginning, but yeah.
yeah, right at the beginning we did too. When we first learned this, we used that same letter for like 2 or 3 different counties. We
Yes.
still bought, but I would get a lot of angry colors. I get letters from other investors for my land.
Yes, we
And
do.
theirs is very business, which is, I guess it's okay, but I like more of a personal touch, more like you said, a love letter.
Yes.
Just
It
sending,
should
and
be.
then always blessing them at the end. Rich blessings or love and blessings to you and your loved ones. If you decide not to sell, feel free to give I always in that. Like if you decide not to sell, keep my name and number and give it to the neighbor or give it to someone that is wanting to
Is
sell their land.
interested. Absolutely. That's good.
I
Those were
love
so
this.
good. Uh So, commitment versus casual dating in this case would be deciding between quick flips and long term holds.
Guys, Cindy did great on this Valentine topic. I
You're
love
so
the way
funny.
you relate it to land.
So
Commitment.
I think that the name of the game for our business, both Liz and I, is to sell quickly. That is the name of the game, right? But when you're getting these calls from potential sellers, there's sometimes deals that you look up and they're just, they're not going to sell immediately, but you know that you look at the history of price change and how much the value of the land has gone up, that it's worth keeping and holding for a year, 2 years, maybe even 5 years. And you know that that return investment is definitely going to be there. So for me, I've done that a couple of times where I'm holding on to land just because I know that in 5 years or 3 years from now, it will sell and it's going to be for a darn good amount. I
Yeah,
just know that putting it on the market right now is not the right thing to do. Would you agree with that?
I do agree. I think land over time does appreciate.
Yes,
So it's
for
always
sure.
good. So with that in mind, my commitment versus casual, yes, Cindy is right. We turn around and flip it quick. But the last couple of mailers I've told Ivan, my husband, we need to start keeping some for our kids and grandkids.
Yes.
Like that's my commitment that this is what we do. We should own a piece every state that we send out to. Not so much for us to get a return. Well, you do get a return on investment. Not so much for the quick flip and get your money and get out and go buy more, but for our children, for our grandchildren.
So it's important to say that you're getting land that's obviously ag exempt, right? If you're holding on
Absolutely.
to it long
Yes.
term, you want to make
Yes.
sure something that's getting ag exempt so that you're not getting killed in taxes and that your children and grandchildren
Can
won't get killed.
benefit.
Yes, for sure.
Absolutely. So that's our commitment. I
Yeah.
get some.
Yeah. Um, breaking up with bad deals, when to walk away. Well, I think you can say this for sellers and buyers, right? Like, when do you walk away? I've walked away from a fair share. Some maybe that I regret at the beginning just because I was getting my feet wet and I just got too scared and walked away. Other times, just knowing, for example, the subdivision that I was talking about earlier, that I just started getting call after call after call with everyone wanting to sell. And I was like, wait a minute, this is a huge red flag. So yeah, I knew I have to walk away because there's something there. And I called the county, I called the HOA for the subdivision, got information, but it wasn't worth it for me.
I love that. The breaking up of bad deals. We've had a lot of good and bad. I would say for me, breaking up my mindset, that would be my breakup because at the beginning, I think about this a lot and I want to share it with everyone that's getting started. At the beginning, we wanted all our profits. We wanted not to give not even 50%. And I feel like we let go of a lot of huge, great opportunities that I made zero when I could have made at least
50.
50%. And
That
that was
is
just a
such a big one.
mindset. So for me, the breakup has to be with mindset. I have a lot of limiting beliefs and I'm scared of a lot of things. And I start thinking, what if this? What if I need to break up with that?
You do, because we preach that mindset is everything, right? And I think fear, to me, fear is the devil and not very
Yes.
godly. God tells us to believe in his
Mm-hmm.
word and believe that everything will work out. And so, I mean, I'm there with you. Don't get me wrong. I'm not, so I'm talking to myself as I'm talking to you guys. But yeah, I think that I've been scared too. And no one taught us. No one taught us to use other people's money. No one,
No.
it's something that we've learned recently. And I would preach that day in and day out. Don't let a great deal go because of the lack of money. There's always someone that's going to want to invest with you. And we're happy to connect you with the right people. We're happy to help invest. Like, there's so many routes you can take. So don't let fear get in the way. If you know it's a great deal, there's a way to make money.
So yeah, break up with those limiting beliefs. That should be the biggest breakup.
For sure. For
I
sure.
love your little titles. I say it again and
Ooh,
again.
I like this one. This is our last one. So this is a great way to end. Romancing your business, keeping the passion alive, and lamb flipping.
Ooh,
Ooh.
I love that.
Yeah.
Let's
So
talk
how
about
do
that.
you keep, I think to me, what this means is, how do you keep motivated to keep sending mailers, to keep, because you send the mailer and then you're busy, and then you're busy with the deals from the previous two mailers, and you're busy. So it's hard unless you have a set schedule. It's hard. And I say this having a mailer that I have to send, that I've been done with probably for a week and a half, and I still have not hit the send button. So I'm speaking to myself again. But I think that keeping a schedule and sticking to it is key, right?
Yes.
Because it's so easy to get in the nitty gritty and then not, like, forget about what's making the money, which is sending the mailers.
So which one? Romancing your
Romancing.
business? For
Yeah,
me, the romance has been the money. I hate to say it,
absolutely.
but I love when I get a nice big check
That's the best.
and then my mind starts going like, oh, I want to go here with my kids. I want to do this. And how do I relate it back to the business? So again, I guess that's been the dance of romancing, and that what keeps me going back
Yes.
to this date of land. The
Yes.
land date is seeing those checks come in. And then the second thing for me, romancing, is all the people, the great, phenomenal people that I've met, great investors that we've met,
Yes.
um, make great relationships. Like that's been my romance, like taking them cookies and romancing the title companies and the assistants and everyone that works with us.
So it's so true. And when you're talking, I thought about a third one, right? I think an important one that I haven't done recently either, probably in 2 months, is how about romancing the people that were not interested at the time, but you had conversations with, they gave you the time, you spoke for them for at least 15 minutes. They were kind of interested in selling, but decided not to. Go back and call them
Yes.
back. And maybe they weren't interested a year ago, but maybe they're interested this year.
Now,
So
yeah.
I think that would be a good analogy to say romance them back, like go back and try to see if you can get them to sell now. Maybe things have changed and they need the money, and you can offer them a great deal or even a better deal a year later or 2 years later.
Yeah, because their taxes go up and sometimes they don't like that. If they're not using the land, they're like, okay, it's time for me to let it go. And
Yes.
here in Texas, a lot of the taxes went up for a lot of properties because people were coming in from different states, moving into Texas. So that jacked up the
It jacked up the
prices.
prices.
So, yes, that's so true, Cindy. I
Yeah.
like that.
And I
It
haven't
makes me
done it.
think I need to go back
Yeah,
and
we need
do
to go
that.
back and do it. And then also remember, in your conversations with potential sellers, that's you're courting them too. You're having that romantic conversation because you don't want to sound arrogant. You do not want to sound entitled. You're there to help them. You're there to solve a problem for them, and whatever the problem is, taxes, whatever the issue is with them, that you're trying to listen for key things that they say, and then you're there to solve their problems, right, with your offer. And to me, I mean, my last purchase that I made was on a deal where the lady said I was going to hell basically for the offer that I made her. And then she came back and sold. Like 2 weeks later, she called me on her own and said, because I said my I never intend to offend you. My letters are not intended to offend you. That's the last thing. And I was very frank and very honest and non-threatening. And then she called me 2 weeks later and said, you know what? I actually like you, and I'm really not doing anything with this land, and I want to sell to you for the price that you have on your letter. And she sold to me. So
That's
I think
awesome.
that having,
Congratulations.
staying respectful and staying
True.
just true to yourself on each call that you're having with potential sellers and buyers can go a long way.
I love that.
Yes, I love it too.
That's
Anything
beautiful.
else?
I I just want to say that it's been a very loving relationship with this business. I never thought I would be doing land investing. I just knew when I worked at corporate America, I needed more time with my kids. I needed to
Yes.
work from home, and I would pray and I would write down. And I guess I set that intention, and everything fell into place. And I really believe that everything falls into place and works out for you from the higher up down to the nitty gritties of every single day. And
Amen.
land investing has been our nice
Our love
Valentine's,
language.
our love language.
There you go. It's
Yes.
been our love language. Yeah. Well, we are in love with you guys that come back and watch us week in and week out. We appreciate y'all so much. We hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful Valentine's Day, year, week, all of it.
Yes.
Thank y'all for watching. I know that this is a crazy ride. We're a little on the crazy side, but we do enjoy doing this. Thank y'all for loving us.
Happy
Happy
Valentine's. Love
Valentine's.
you guys.
Bye.
Bye.